Eye. My name is Shruti Ganguly and I am a filmmaker, and I am thrilled to celebrate 50 years of Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye, which feels especially relevant to us in 2020 because we are still dealing within systems of oppression, trying to break free where concepts of freedom and liberty and truth are very much on our minds. And we are still also, in this place where violence against women is still happening. As an Indian, I see it all the time. And I really hope that we can create a future for young women to feel protected and to feel loved and to feel beautiful in whatever way brings them confidence. As you know, this is a read along. I will share some brief reflections after I read my section, but you can catch the full reading on the gram at Love as a Kind of Cure, at Love Kind Cure. See the cat, it goes meow, meow, meow. Come play with Jane. The kitten will not play, 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 plah. They come from Mobile, Aiken, from Newport News, from Marietta, from Meridian. And the sound of these places in their mouths make you think of love. When you ask them where they are from, they tilt their heads and say, Mobile, and you think you've been kissed. They say Aiken, and you see a white butterfly glance off a fence with a torn wing. They say Nagadoches, and you want to say, yes, I will. You don't know what these towns are like, but you love what happens to the air when they open their lips and let the names ease out. Meridian. The sound of it opens the windows of a room like the first four notes of a hymn. Few people can say the names of their hometowns with such sly affection. Perhaps because they don't have hometowns, just places where they were born. But these girls soak up the juice of their hometowns, and it never leaves them. They are thin brown girls who have looked long at hollyhocks in the backyards of Meridian, Mobile, Aiken, and Baton Rouge. And like hollyhocks, they are narrow, tall, and still. Their roots are deep, their stalks are firm, and only the top blossom nods in the wind. They have the eyes of people who can tell what time it is by the color of the sky. Such girls live in quiet Black neighborhoods where everybody is gainfully employed, where there are porch swings hanging from chains, where the grass is cut with a scythe, where rooster combs and sunflowers grow in the yards, and pots of bleeding heart, ivy, and mother-in-law tongue line the steps and windowsills. Such girls have bought watermelon and snap beans from the fruit man's wagon. They have put in the window the cardboard sign that has a pound measure printed on each of three edges, 10 pounds, 25 pounds, 50 pounds, and no ice on the fourth. These particular brown girls from Mobile and Aiken are not like some of their sisters. They are not fretful, nervous, or shrill. They do not have lovely Black necks that stretch as though against an invisible collar. Their eyes do not bite. These sugar brown Mobile girls move through the streets without a stir. They are as sweet and plain as butter cake, slim ankles, long narrow feet. They wash themselves with orange-colored Lifebuoy soap, dust themselves with cashmere bouquet talc, clean their teeth with salt on a piece of rag, soften their skin with Jergens lotion. They smell like wood, newspapers, and vanilla. They straighten their hair with Dixie Peach and part it on the side. At night, they curl it in paper from brown bags, tie a print scarf around their heads, and sleep with hands folded across their stomachs. They do not drink, smoke, or swear. and they still call sex nookie. They sing second soprano in the choir, and although their voices are clear and steady, they are never picked to solo. They are in the second row, white blouses starched, blue skirts almost purple from ironing. They go to land grants colleges, normal schools, and learn how to do the white man's work with refinement. Home economics to prepare his food, teacher education to instruct black children in obedience, music to soothe the weary master and entertain his blunted soul. Here, they learn the rest of the lesson, begun in those soft houses with porch swings and pots of bleeding heart, how to behave. The careful development of thrift, patience, high morals, and good manners. In short, how to get rid of the funkiness. The dreadful funkiness of passion, the funkiness of nature, the funkiness of the wide range of human emotions. Wherever it erupts as funk, they wipe it away. Where it crusts, they dissolve it. Wherever it drips, flowers, or clings, they find it and fight it until it dies. They fight this battle all the way to the grave. They laugh that is a little too loud, the enunciation a little too round, the gesture a little too generous. They hold their behind in for fear of a sway too free. When they wear lipstick, they never cover the entire mouth for the fear of lips too thick. And they worry, worry, worry about the edges of their hair. They never seem to have boyfriends, but they always marry. Certain men watch them without seeming to and know that if such a girl is in his house, he will sleep on sheets boiled white, hung out to dry on juniper bushes and pressed flat with a heavy iron. There will be pretty paper flowers decorating the picture of his mother, a large Bible in the front room. They feel secure. They know their work clothes will be mended, washed, and ironed on Monday, that their Sunday shirts will billow on hangers from the door jamb, stiffly starched and white. They look at her hands and know what she will do with biscuit dough. They smell the coffee and the fried ham, see the white, smoky grits with a dollop of butter on top. Her hips assure them that she will bear children easily and painlessly. And they are right. What they do not know is that this plain brown girl will build her nest stick by stick, make it her own inviolable world, and stand guard over its every plant, weed, and doily, even against him. In silence, will she return the lamp to where she put it in the first place, remove the dishes from the table as soon as the last bite is taken, wipe the doorknob after a greasy hand has touched it. A sidelong look will be enough to tell him to smoke on the back porch. Children will sense instantly that they cannot come into her yard to retrieve a ball, but the men do not know these things, nor do they know that she will give him her body sparingly and partially. He must enter her surreptitiously, lifting the hem of her nightgown only to her navel. He must rest his weight on his elbows when they make love, ostensibly to avoid hurting her breasts, but actually to keep her from having to touch or feel too much of him. While he moves inside her, she will wonder why they didn't put the necessary but private parts of the body in some more convenient place, like the armpit, for example, or the palm of the hand. Someplace one could get to easily and quickly without undressing. She stiffens when she feels one of her paper curlers coming undone from the activity of love, imprints in her mind which one it is that is coming loose so she can quickly secure it once he is through. She hopes he will not sweat. The damp may get into her hair and that she will remain dry between her legs. She hates the glucking sound they make when she is moist. When she senses some spasm about to grip him, she will make rapid movements with her hips, press her fingernails into his back, suck in her breath, and pretend she's having an orgasm. She might wonder again for the 600th time what it would be like to have that feeling while her husband's penis is inside her. The closest thing to it was a time she was walking down the street and her napkin slipped free of her sanitary belt and moved gently between her legs as she walked, gently, ever so gently, and then a slight and distinctly delicious sensation collected in her crotch. As the delight grew, she had to stop in the street, hold her thighs together to contain it. That must be what it is like, she thinks. But it never happens while he is inside her. When he withdraws, she pulls her nightgown down, slips out of the bed and into the bathroom with relief. Occasionally, some living will engage her affections. A cat, perhaps, who will love her, order, precision, and constancy, who will be as clean and quiet as she is. The cat will settle on the windowsill and caress her with his eyes. She can hold him in her arms, letting his back paws struggle for footing on her breast and his forepaws clinging to her shoulder. She can rub the smooth fur and feel the unresisting flesh underneath. At her gentlest touch, he will preen, stretch, and open his mouth, and she will accept the strangely pleasant sensation that comes when he writes beneath her hand and flattens his eyes with a surfeit of sensual delight. When she stands cooking at the table, he will circle about her shanks, and the trill of his fur spirals up her legs to her thighs to make her fingers tremble a little in the pie dough. Or as she sits reading the uplifting thoughts in the Liberty magazine, the cat will jump into her lap. She will fondle that soft hill of hair and let the warmth of the animal's body seep over and into the deeply private areas of her lap. Sometimes the magazine drops and she opens her legs just a little, and the two of them will be still together, perhaps shifting a little together, sleeping a little together, until 4 o'clock, when the intruder comes home from work vaguely anxious about what's for dinner. The cat will always know that he is first in her affections, even after she bears a child, for she does bear a child easily and painlessly, but only one, a son named Junior. One such girl from Mobile or Meridian or Aiken who did not sweat in her armpits nor between her thighs, who smelled of wood and vanilla, who had made soufflés in the home economics department, moved with her husband Louis to Lorain, Ohio. Her name was Geraldine. There, she built her nest, ironed shirts, potted bleeding hearts, played with her cat, and birthed Louis Jr. Geraldine did not allow her baby Junior to cry. As long as his needs were physical, she could meet them, comfort and satiety. He was always brushed, bathed, oiled, and shod. Geraldine did not talk to him, coo to him, or indulge him in kissing bouts when she saw that every other desire was fulfilled. It was not long before the child discovered the difference in his mother's behavior to himself and the cat. As he grew older, he learned how to direct his hatred of his mother to the cat and spent some happy moments watching it suffer. The cat survived because Geraldine was seldom away from home and could effectively soothe the animal when Junior abused him. Geraldine, Louis, Junior, and the cat lived next to the playground of Washington Irving School. Junior considered the playground his own, and the school children coveted his freedom to sleep late, go home for lunch, and dominate the playground after school. He hated to see the swings, slides, monkey bars, and seesaws empty, and tried to get kids to stick around as long as possible. White kids, his mother, did not like him to play with niggers. She had explained to him the difference between colored people and niggers. They were easily identifiable. Colored people were neat and quiet. Niggers were dirty and loud. He belonged to the former group. He wore white shirts and blue trousers. His hair was cut as close to his scalp as possible to avoid any suggestion of wool, The part was etched into his hair by the barber. In winter, his mother put Jergens lotion on his face to keep the skin from becoming ashen. Even though he was light-skinned, it was possible to ash. The line between colored and nigger was not always clear. Subtle and telltale signs threatened to erode it, and the watch had to be constant. Junior used to long to play with the black boys. More than anything in the world, he wanted to play king of the mountain and have them push him down the mound of dirt and roll him over. He wanted to feel their hardness pressing over him, smell their wild blackness, and say, "Fuck you," with that lovely casualness. He wanted to sit with them on curbstones and compare the sharpness of jackknives, the distance and the arcs of spitting in the toilet. He wanted to share with them the laurels of being able to pee far and long. Bay Boy and P.I. had at one time been his idols. Gradually, he came to agree that his mother had neither Bay Boy or P.I. was good enough for him. He played only with Ralph Nisensky, who was 2 years younger, wore glasses, and didn't want to do anything. More and more, Junior enjoyed bullying girls. It was easy making them scream and run. How he laughed when they fell down and their bloomers showed. When they got up, their faces red and crinkled. It made him feel good. The nigger girls he did not pick up on very much. They usually traveled in packs, and once he threw a stone at some of them, they chased, caught, and beat him witless. He lied to his mother, saying Bay Boy did it. His mother was very upset. His father just kept on reading the Lorraine Journal. To Piccola, to all the girls, to everyone's inner girl. Love, love. It's elusive, it's an enigma, and yet we all know it and we all have it. We can seek it, but it's inside us already. We can nurture it and it can grow. We can be heartbroken as well. But holding it and loving the feeling of being in love and being loved and to love, that is a gift. And we should also share it with ourselves as much as we can share it with each other. Because in the end, all of us will go. We will lose those dearest from us. But what we can always do and what the generations to come will do is love. 2020 has been an incredible year of challenges while also shedding light of the continuous inequality that people face, especially Black people. And we have to stand up for each other. As an Indian who grew up in the Middle East, who comes from a half Christian, half Hindu background, growing up in a Muslim country, to calling New York home and now currently reading from Norway, I have had this incredible luxury of coming from this multicultural space. And from within that, it is very clear still that Black people are more oppressed than anybody else. And as people who stand up for human rights, Black lives have to matter to everybody. If you love your family, you have to care about Black life as well. And what I will say is that a book like The Bluest Eye, which was written 50 years ago, could not ring more truer than it is today, because we are still confronted with so much of the same oppression. And we have to ask ourselves, when does this stop? And when do we stop electing leaders who continue these systems of oppression and hatred and violence against others? In my own Indian community, which is incredibly casteist, we see and witness the oppression of the Dalits. Even when it is said that casteism is illegal, we still allow for this to occur, and we have to stop this. We have to stop the violence against women. And we have to protect our girls, we have to protect our boys, we have to protect each other. There is goodness in everybody. And we can see this from these incredible movements of people showing up for each other. And we have to listen to Black women and also trans women. And in this movement for Black lives, it seems that Black women and trans people have been more marginalized than Black men, and we have to recognize that. And we really have to stand up for them. And in doing that, we stand up for each other. So thank you for listening and for reading along with me. And before I sign off, let me offer a word of gratitude for Toni Morrison. Thank you, Toni Morrison, for existing. It's actually getting me emotional. Your words and your wisdom and your love have graced us with light, with reflection, with a humility, and with a hope. So thank you.